think all of you have had your lunch and the much needed break. We now are ready to start with the roundtable session. For this session, our topic is folk arts as knowledge systems, vernacularity across visual and performative traditions. Our chair for the session is Miss Dhrubananda Roy, Research Scholar CFCS at the University of Hyderabad. And
No, you are reading wrong. Peony, please check the schedule.
just a second. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Deepika, why are you silent?
I just got shocked that I was the chair.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll begin again. The title for the session is Digital Folklore, Community, Change, and Circulation.
I think Peony got disconnected. Deepika ma'am, you may continue with. I think there is technical issue with her end. You are mute, ma'am. Please unmute yourself.
Hello all. So today I'm going to chair a session on digital folklore. So now we have our first presenter, Dr. Gabriele de Seta. He is a researcher at University of Bergen. He leads the AlgoFolk project funded by the Ton Mon Foundation. His research focuses on digital media practices, socio-technical infrastructure, and vernacularity creativity in the Chinese-speaking world using ethnography methods. So I welcome you, Gabriele.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Should I share some slides or more?
Yeah.
So, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, you should see the slides.
No, not now.
What about now?
No. Or you can just share the PPT to me.
But it should work. Wait, let me try. PowerPoint. Does it work now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Good. So, thanks for having me. So my name is Gabriele Seta. I'm leading this project called AlgoFolk. The image you see here is kind of just a very AI-generated image of what I think is this concept of folklore of algorithms. So when we think of digital folklore, I did study of digital folklore for many years. And in 2019-20, I start realizing that what we call digital folklore is maybe changing because of algorithmic media and then artificial intelligence. So memes, funny images, viral content used to be mostly made by humans, but I think in the last 5 years, there is more and more digital folklore that is also made by AI or with AI. And I'm very interested to map, to try to create a folk archive of this new AI-generated material. So you can imagine this kind of connection between many AI-generated images or characters or models. So I will not introduce my project, but just to say that it's a 4-year project that spans many countries. So I'm currently in Hong Kong, and I do research on China and Chinese-speaking area. I have one project member who does research on India, one on Turkey, and some others on Europe. So it's quite a global project, and it's going to last until 2028, so 2 more years. And maybe you already discussed the concept of digital folklore in this conference, I'm not sure, but My proposal is for a new concept that we can call algorithmic folklore. And this is my definition. So it's a repertoire, meaning a collection of many different things. Specifically, I think both genres and practices. So kinds of content, but also the ways of doing or making that content. And algorithmic folklore happens or results from the encounter between vernacular creativity, or what you just mentioned, vernacularity, and automation, so everyday automation. So when we think of old practices like image making, creating slang terms or folk stories, today these practices are encountering new kinds of automation that is in our everyday life, like large language models, generative AI systems, and all this kind of social media recommendation. And I think when these encounter, they create what I call algorithmic folklore. And I will give you some examples of algorithmic folklore. This is a tweet from 2023 by a creator, and he shared some images that he made with Midjourney. If you're familiar, Midjourney is a text-to-image model, so you can type something and create images. I think what he wrote here was something like a party, photos at a party in the 90s, realistic, blah, blah, blah. And then he posted on Twitter saying, wow, this is very powerful because these are not real photos. These people don't exist, but they are AI generated. The interesting thing about these photos, if you see the ones on the right, is that people started noticing that the hands of these humans don't look right. So you can see the guy holding the cup has too many fingers, and the woman holding the camera has a strange hand. So people start realizing at that time that AI can create things, but also it will create something a bit uncanny or monster-like or strange. And this, I think, has become some kind of folk story about AI not being capable of generating hands, human hands. So here you can see three kinds of meme. They're all the same narrative. They're all the same story. They're a joke, right? The joke says everyone thinks that AI will replace photographers, but then if AI actually replaces photographers, we will get bad photos with hands that don't look real. And you can see different examples that change in time. So first is photographers, and then AI will replace developers, and then the last is designers. And you can also see that the images change. So AI in the beginning is not capable of doing hands, but in the last photo, actually the hands are quite good. So I think it's very interesting to see how this kind of joke changes in time. Its meaning also changes in time. And this is very similar to folklore. If we think of joke cycles, how the joke always remains the same, but the content might change. And also we have more and more jokes about the same topic, but they use different kind of templates. So here you see three examples of the same joke about AI doing bad hands, but it's a very different topics and different ways of doing this joke. So some are just like human and AI shaking hands. Another one is on the famous painting by Michelangelo. And another one is about the CAPTCHA and the robot having to prove that they can recognize a human hand. So again, I'm very interested in how one simple joke can start and then become a very complicated repertoire of jokes. So this is what I call algorithmic folklore. I hope it's a clear definition now. And my project has two main questions. So one question is, what is algorithmic folklore? So I think that was my answer to that. And the next question is how to collect it, because we know that with traditional folklore, it is somehow easier to collect, just talking to people or looking at performances, collecting folk art. But algorithmic folklore is a bit more complicated because it happens online. AI creates it, and it disappears quite quickly. So our solution for now is to create a database we call the black box. This is a Obsidian-based database, so we use a tool called Obsidian to create an archive. And this archive is local, so it's on our computer. We have a team of 5 people, and we all have a version of this archive. But it's also cloud-based, so we can sync it between ourselves. And this database is all based on markdown files, so it's quite open source, doesn't require subscriptions or anything. We can control what is written in the files, and we can create our own custom template for entering the data. Here you can see what it looks like when it's empty. So the empty page would just be some metadata, like where we found the item of folklore, which date, which language, which place, platform, author, all this kind of metadata, some tags. And also we have the text and we have the context. So this is a bit like an ethnographic archive note or maybe a short field note, but our fieldwork is mostly online. Here you can see an example of how we archive one popular meme about AI. It's called the GPT-3 Shoggoth. It's like a monster that people have created to explain how GPT-3 works. And you can see that we input the date when this image was created, when we found it, the link, some tags. In the algorithm, you can see that this is about deep learning algorithms, LLMs, GPT model, and so on. And the tags have some thematic classification. So some are very specific, and some are more general, like creature, horror, intelligence, and so on. And on the right, you can see the original image. We can archive images, and then we archive the comments or the original tweets and some of the replies to this image. And finally, we have this as a single entry in our archive. The interesting thing for us is that now we have around 100 entries of individual pieces of folklore, and we are planning to do much more in the next 2 years. And what we can do after is that we can use this database to visualize how different kinds of folklore items are connected. So we can show the derivation. So if one meme comes from another meme, then we will see them connected. But we also can do some more big data visualizations by using the tags. So what you see here in green are tags, and the red and gray dots are individual pieces of content. And you can see that some are close together, and the ones that are in a cluster is because they share a lot of similar tags. And the ones that are more distant is because they don't share similar tags, except maybe 1 or 2. So the one you see down here in the bottom left is many items that share tags like nature, food, animal. All of these pieces are about the same thing. And then we have other clusters with different tags. So we can do a lot with this kind of visualization, and we can filter the items by platform, by country. Let's say we wanted to only see memes that come from India and are shared on Twitter. We can do that. And then by filtering it, then we can see the relationship and what happened there. And of course, we're not folklore experts, so we're kind of new to this field. So we are still studying how folklorists do this kind of work. You can see that the traditional folklore categorizations and guidelines are quite similar to what we implemented. For example, the Dublin core categories or the Utah State University ones use similar categories like title, creator, description, publisher. So in a way, we kind of reinvented some systems that already exist, but we also think that it's important to change these guidelines for new media. So to introduce new categories like algorithm or genre of content or reach, social media platform, and so on. So this is what we're working on in our project. Basically, we're trying to figure out what algorithmic folklore is and how to collect it. And we have some ideas for the next 2 years of work, so our future trajectories. Now we have some questions about how to make it better by learning from folklore studies, so attending this conference and other events. For example, how do we call this this database we built? Is it a collection, or is it an archive, or is it a repository? We're still figuring that out. And we also want to think about future proofing. So when this project is finished in 2 years, what will happen to the archive? Will it just disappear, or will we be able to store it somewhere to avoid that it collapses? We're also thinking about adding more kinds of metadata that are more connected to folklore. For example, types like folk tale types, or cycles, or joke cycles, or motifs. So the narrative motifs that are shared by different types of story or image. We haven't implemented this yet, but currently we're working on maybe making our archive a bit more close to folklore studies terminology. And lastly, this is very private for now. So what I showed you is just a private interface. It cannot be publicly accessed because it's our internal working tool. But we're thinking that at the end of the project, we might transform it into a book, or maybe even create a public version that then people can just explore to do further research. Because in 4 years, we cannot do as much research as we would like with this kind of materials. So I think this is my presentation. I prepare for, this 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope it was interesting for you.
Thank you so much, Gabriele. We will
Thank
take
you.
the question and answer in the last. Okay. Okay. Now we will have Dr. Kuber. Are you here?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
So Dr. Kuber is an assistant professor in English at SRM University, Tamil Nadu. His research focuses on subaltern communities, cultural memory, and identity in South Asia, especially marginalized communities of Odisha. Over to you, Kuber.
Are you able to see my presentation now?
Yes,
PPT?
yes, yes. You can make it as a full screen if possible. Or fine.
Okay, fine.
You can
It's
start.
fine?
Yeah, it's
Is
fine.
it okay?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepika, and thank you so much for giving me this space to present my work. And my presentation is not really about what Gabriele de Seta has talked about. Like, he was like more technical, and like he was into like core digital transformation of folklore. But mine is about a little bit, which is a blending of traditional practices as well as how it has been mediating through the digital platform. So this is, if you are expecting this is more technical, forgive me for that. This is not going to be that much technical thing, but it is just another version of like the evolving digital folklore practices. So it is more about the digital mediation of folkloric practices. And my topic is about from Dalkai to digital folklore, changing musical practices and the corporal precarity of Gandabaja. So the picture you can see here, it is a modern version of Dalkai dance. And keep it in mind that this is a modern version. This is not a traditional version of Dalkai dance. So moving moving on to the next slide. This is the region that I'm talking about. Here you can see the first image is map of India. The second region is the second image is it is Odisha, and you can see the red mark over there in between the map, Odisha map. The red mark above to it, the uh, west of it is Western Odisha, and the third one is like a typical map of Western Odisha. This is the region where Dalkhai's dance and Gandabaja is prominent. So if we talk about Gandabaja or the Dalkhai dance in the eastern part of Odisha, probably they might wonder a little bit. But yeah, this is specifically and rest limited, not really limited, but it is specifically known across western part of Odisha. So let's move on to the next slide, which is before going to this, like I'm going to show you a small clip of Dalkhai dance. So kindly keep that rhythm in your mind, and I will talk it about. Is it audible to you?
No, sir, the voice is not coming.
Oh, I'm really sorry for that.
That slides the voice will not come. That is a major problem. So don't worry. We are
No
seeing that.
problem, no problem. We can see the actions. No problem.
Okay, okay, but the sound is like that was what something really important in this these things. Okay, I'm showing you another slide where this International Monetary Fund managing director, when she was invited to the when she was invited to India, she was welcomed by some performance that is from Dalkhai. So these are the two visuals of Dalkhai that I have shown you, and I'm really sorry that I could not able to hear it, or else like it would have been like really interesting and interactive. So yeah, coming back to the Dalkhai. So most of people think that Dalkhai is a dance, but there is a lot of historical and ritual practices that goes back to the Dalkhai. So before Dalkhai become a dance, it is a ritual practices which is predominantly practiced in the western part of Odisha, mainly by the tribal community. And they worship goddess Dalkhai. So basically here I would like to give you a clear idea about the ritual practices. So in western part of Odisha, there is people worship nature. It's kind of animistic practices. We have god and goddesses like Barapahar. So Barapahar, it means 12 hills. We have goddesses like Khambeshwari. So it is a pillar is our goddesses. Similarly, Dalkhai is Dal mean it branches of tree. Okay, so that branches has been worshipped as a goddesses. Okay, and the dance that you have seen in the video is performed only after drawing this particular image, which has Sulakoti. Sulakoti means 16 houses, 16 houses. So in the above, you can see 8 block, below that another 8 block. So what is the significance of this 16 blocks or 16 houses? The significance of the 16 houses is we place, especially in Western Odisha, we people place our what we call it, ancestors And the ancestor, it means not somebody from our own lineage, but it is about snake, tortoise, elephant, rat, along with our Kuldevi. For example, in my own community, we have my own thing is my own what my ancestral symbol is tortoise. So in that one of the block, it will have the image of a tortoise. So this is what this Sulakoti means. So during the Dalkai, we will first draw this 16 block, and we worship it. We put branches, we put flower, we put leaves on it, and after that, that dance takes place. Okay, so this is Dalkai. As I said, it is not merely, it's not only a dance, but it is a ritual, and this is a lyric of Dalkai. So here you can see that Ghadi Mari Ude Dasara Jana. I'll talk about it. Dasera. It is talking about the Dasera, and also it is talking about Sulakuti Kede Sundara. I mean that 16 blocks, how beautiful that 16 blocks are. Okay. So in this, whether it's Dalkai celebration or Dalkai dance or the Dalkai lyrics, one important thing about these rituals, this dance, these songs is the music, and that is Ganavaja. So this music has a significant value while performing this Dalkai rituals or Dalkai dance or Dalkai songs. And this is that music, this Ganavaja, it is not only restricted or limited to the Dalkai. If you go to the western part of Orissa, you see any kind of rituals that has been performed, Ganavaja must be there. Without the Ganavaja, traditionally, the Ganavaja used to be always there. And who performed this Ganavaja? The Ganavaja is performed by the lower caste or the scheduled caste or the Dalit from the western Orissa. And here you can see the relationship between the divinity and the so-called impure people, so-called untouchables. Okay, so if you go to the western Orissa, historically, traditionally, where there is any kind of rituals, that is Dalkai or Nuakhai or any kind of thing, any kind of practices, Ganavaja must be there. And one more thing here, one has to keep in mind that the western Orissa, which is now being transformed a lot, there is a lot of social, political, economic changes. It has been predominantly lived or resided by the tribes and other communities. So there is a cordial relationship between the tribe and the other community, that is the scheduled caste and the untouchables, the presently known as untouchables. So this untouchable has been a part of this entire cosmos of western Orissa. And it's a different debate that how come this particular community become untouchable. That's a completely different debate. That is, I'm not going to discuss it here, but this Ganavaja has a very significant role in performing any kind of rituals alongside Dalkai. So the modern day Dalkai, there's a lot of changes. As you can see in the first video, the dance. Now the rituals has been completely removed. We no longer have the rituals, but it is only known by the dance or the songs. The music is absent. The ritual is absent there. And now the Dalkai is, the goddess Dalkai or the Dalkai Devi has been transformed into Durga. So during the Dasera, during the Durga Puja, the Dalkai Devi is no longer worshipped. Instead of Dalkai Devi, it is the Durga. And that Solakoti, the 16 blocks, 16 houses that I have talked about in the previous slides, now have replaced with Hindu gods and goddesses. Like, for example, snake, it has been replaced with Shiva. For example, rat, it has been replaced with god Ganesh. Or the Gram Devi has been replaced with goddess Durga. There's another significant changes that has been coming out is that this Dalkai, it has the priest is called Jhankar, who is from the tribal communities. But with the changing practices, the Jhankar or the priest from the tribal community has no place in the contemporary, in the modern practice of Dalkai or the Durga Puja, but it has been replaced with the Pandit, the Purohit. And there is a significant absence of Gunavaja, which was an integral part of Dalkai. So here I can it reminds me of this Finnish folklorist P.T. Antonin. Like he talked about how this particular kind of this folkloric practices is always contested, and people, how do they internalize it or assimilate it or trying to reshape it to build an identity. So the Dalkai, which is an integral identity of the tribal community of the western part of Odisha, as well as the other like untouchables or the lower caste, has no longer has any kind of authority over the Dalkai right now, because it has been turned into a Hindu practices, or turned into, or the Dalkai has been turned into Durga Puja. And now, with the emergence of digital practices, with the emergence of a digital platform, this particular changes has further witnessed more erosion in their cultural practices. For example, the Gonavaja, the platform, which is the Gonavaja, now only it was performed during the rituals, but now it has, since the rituals has been no longer there, there is no need of Gonavaja. Another thing is that the digital platform, it is reducing the practice to a mere music, because the Gonavaja, it is not a mere music, it is a ritualistic, it is a prayer. Before playing any kind of instrument in the Gonavaja, we the people who play the music worship. But now it has been that the traditional, that worship part has been removed, and it is only now become a music only. Another thing is the assimilation of Gonavaja because of this changing practices. Now you can see here this one is trumpet, or in the extreme left corner, the person who's standing with that white shirt, he's been playing a muhuri. We call it muhuri, but this muhuri has been replaced with trumpet now. And this is the person who is next to that is called Nissan. The extreme corner to the left is the dhol. So these particular things has been seen a significant changes over the period of time, and this digital mediation of folk practices has also created a lot of challenges for that. And at last, the community who play the Ganavaja has been completely excluded from this particular practices. So that is all about today's presentation, and there is a more to it, but I'm not able to due to the stipulated time, I'm not able to talk about it more. But yeah, that's all about my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kuber, for introducing us with the Dal Khai. So we'll take the question later on. Now we'll have Dr. Prayasi. Are you here, Prayasi?
Hello, am I audible?
Hello.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Okay, I will share my slides.
Yeah.
I think.
So Dr. Prayasi is an assistant professor in Department of Folklore at Pandu College, Guwahati. Her research focuses on folklore documentation, festival, gender, and the cultural tradition of Mej Kachari community of Assam.
Okay, the screen is I think not working. So or you can continue with another. I will share you my slides to you so that you can share the screen.
Yeah. Sure. No problem.
Abhirup
Abhirup, are you ready?
is there.
You can continue with the Abhirup, I think.
Okay. Dr. Prayasi, you can share your slides to me.
Yeah, I will share.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Abhirup, you can start. You can start, Abhirup.
Okay.
Do you have a PPT should share?
Yeah, I will just.
Okay. Till then, I can introduce yourself. So, Abhirup Sarkar is a graduate researcher at University of Tartu, Estonia, a computer engineer turned folklorist. His research explores gamifying folklore and digital approaches to traditional cultural narratives. Over to you, Abhirup.
Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So hi, my name is Abhirup, and my just a little correction. My primary field of research is Northeast Indian folklore, and I work with the Khasi and the Karbi community, and I work on digital folkloristics as a side project alongside my primary field of study, which is the folkloristics of religion and magic in Northeast Indian communities. So, but today, in light of the current panel on digital folklore, I'll be speaking about an industry that is perhaps larger than all the film industries combined, perhaps one of the largest ones in today's time, which is the gaming industry. I'll talk about gamifying folklore and how this process is not only supporting cultural preservation, but also enabling active inter and intracultural participation in co-creating an ecosystem that is inspiring research, discussions on folklore in context, thereby keeping it alive. Although my primary field, as I told, is folklore of Northeast India, I also simultaneously work on digital folkloristics in search of, as the panel says today, continuities and changes in circulation of folklore. But my themes are usually the similar ones that I look at in my ethnography, which is magic, rituals, and other than human entities. So currently, I am working on a monograph on the phenomenon of a scarcely talked about parallel reality, or as American scholar Claire Schide calls it, a version of congruent geographies from Northeast India. Therefore, today, through this small commentary of 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes, I would like to bring to your notice how the phenomena of parallel realities, sacred spaces, or congruent geographies that, as per my ethnographic findings over the last 2 years, and more broadly over the last 5 years, are an integral part of various cultures and their folklore, is once gamified can also become can also mimic this concept of parallel reality that can preserve not only the concept of parallel reality itself, but also several other folklore and folkloric concepts uh, by extending them through the digital spaces. So, although my talk will include two specific examples of games, I would like to show you a picture to explain in short with examples what gamification is and how gamifying folklore is not as recent a phenomenon as we might, consider it to be. So I don't know how many of you have played games or how many of you are aware of what is on the screen right now. Now this is Mario, And if you have ever played games, you will fondly remember this game being one of the most addictive games. But I believe most of us who have known video games remember, like the story of Mario, more or less in summary, where Mario hears the Mushroom People's plight and then sets out on a quest to free the Mushroom Princess from the evil Koopa and restore the fallen kingdom of the Mushroom People. On his way, he receives power-ups. If you remember, you eat mushrooms and you get bigger, and then you get hit by a tortoise, you get smaller. And he also gets to kill several small and big evil characters, which builds up to this final fight. And if you have already been inducted as a folklorist, it is needless to say that this is what we classically know as the hero's journey. And to continue, here are a few more games over the years that have used this concept of the hero's journey in several different combinations and permutations. One is Dark Souls. If you have been a gamer, you will know in Dark Souls, you select a character, you give it some certain set of qualities, and then you move on to save the world, which is another version of the hero's journey. And I think even if you're not a gamer, if you have been a very serious Netflix binge watcher, you know the whole chaos around the Witcher series that happened when Henry Cavill was removed. But even the Witcher as a game is a classic example of the hero's journey with a different combination, and so on and so forth. So gamification, therefore, in general, is the application of game design elements and principles in context that are not usually ascribed to be game-like. And this ranges from placing mushrooms for power-ups to encourage continuation of gameplay to cinematic cutscenes in the newer games that ensure rest from constant active engagement in the game. Gamification of a certain activity or phenomenon, therefore, encourages participation by making them interesting, reliable, and accessible, by transforming traditional concepts, as we saw earlier, into interactive digital experiences. I'll quickly go through the concept of story worlds for a bit because it's important to understand what I'm speaking of here. And for this talk, I speak specifically of the story world as a construct that functions as a parallel realm in its own right. Now, when the audience engages with a narrative, they are not merely absorbing the data, but entering into an autonomous parallel realm that operates on its own internal narrative logic. Just like the traditional manifestations of parallel realms I'm currently working with. In the current context, however, this phenomenon is described as narrative transportation as posited by Green and Brock, a process whereby the audience is absorbed in the story and the boundary between the real and the fictional worlds is blurred. And in this immersive state, the story world is governed by distinct rules, possesses its own history, and is populated by elements and aspects that may entail values or conflicts that are allegorical reflections of our physically perceptible reality. Now, I speak through two games today. If you're a gamer, you will already know these games. One is Assassin's Creed, the another one is Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, while Assassin's Creed is a stealth-based gameplay with an intricate narrative that spans multiple historical epochs, Ghostwire Tokyo presents a contemporary urban setting juxtaposed with a parallel world of the dead. In Assassin's Creed, you have Animus, a technological fictional device which grants the modern protagonist access to their ancestral memories, building an immersive gameplay and narrative experience, which is inspired parallelly by the traditional practices where people or ritual performers seek counsel from their ancestors in traditional setups. In the other game, the bustling town of Tokyo is rendered eerily silent, leaving behind a city teeming with spectral entities like yotei, like poltergeist, and different kind of entities, which the hero, again, another hero's journey, which the hero has to kind of defeat to reach and save the world again. Now, the core of Assassin's Creed is memory, identity, and the constant interplay between fate and free will. If you play the game, you'll understand that. While the central themes of Ghostwire Tokyo revolve around disappearance, the unseen, the uncanny, and the intersection of modernity with traditional, concepts of ghosts and spectral entities. Now, both Assassin's Creed and Ghostwire Tokyo provide compelling case studies, and these are just two. There are all you can pick up any game, and you will see the how folklore has inspired these games. But these two, for this particular talk, provide a compelling case studies in the construction of parallel worlds within immersive digital media. For instance, the concept of liminal ontology is vividly realized in Ghostwire Tokyo, where the environment itself becomes a site for the liminal other than human beings to materialize their presence, as you can probably see in the fourth image in the second row. Similarly, the narrative structure of Assassin's Creed shares its foundations with the mythopoetic traditions of many cultures, where history is reinterpreted as a living, mutable narrative rather than a fixed sequence of events. In traditional storytelling, whether oral, written, or cinematic, the audience usually do not contribute to the narrative flow. Video games, on the other hand, have evolved. They involve active participation. The immersive nature of this medium places the audience as the co-creators of the narrative. By making choices, exploring hidden corners of the game world, and engaging in non-linear storytelling, all of which directly or indirectly impacts the narrative conclusion, the real game world, players effectively traverse the boundaries between what is real and what is parallel, which is housed within the game as well as in your perceptible physical reality. Now, this active engagement mirrors the participatory nature of cultural rituals, where community members are not mere witnesses, but also actors of multiple realities in their society. Thus, the transforming the game world into a living parallel universe that coexists with the player's everyday life. Now, both Assassin's Creed and Ghostwire Tokyo, and many, many, many other games like this, invoke this idea in their construction of layered realities, where one narrative dimension operates concurrently with another. Now, as a folklorist, I look at such interactive and ever evolving video games through the lens of a dynamic, three-layered ontological engagement and possible cultural immersion that becomes an aid to preserving folklore. The first layer of engagement in this argument involves the player's initial transition from the physical world, everyday world, into the game world reality. The moment you turn on the screen, the screen comes up and you are ready to, become an assassin in the game. This transition is underlined by sensory and cognitive inputs from the game world, overriding those of the physical environment. However, not entirely yet. Next comes the immersion within the game world, the second engagement. Here, the narrative, mechanics, and internal cultural symbols of the game construct a parallel reality. And then third comes the reversal and reintegration. This process is what I call hyper-tellability, a phenomenon where these players who are playing these games, deeply affected by their immersive experience, begin to superimpose the game world onto the world outside. And my conversations and ethnography suggest that such reintegration is not merely a reciprocation of knowledge, but an emotional and cultural reconfiguration. From initial transition to internal immersion to reversal and reintegration, folklore in all of this process stops being museumized. It's not a museumized artifact anymore, preserved and waiting for eager minds like folklorists to unearth, but thrives through with the people. Whether it is an active effort to look up the origins of poltergeists, urei, or other than human entities, or a Reddit discussion on whether the depiction of Nordic gods is appropriate in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the folklore comes alive. When there are communities and forums discussing how to defeat a certain demonic entity, or what would Thor have decided in a particular situation, or how to survive an Amazonian forest with bare minimum equipment, the folklore comes alive. And when folklore is
Abhirup,
living among
sorry
us.
to interrupt.
I'm just finishing. Yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
please
Yeah.
round
So
up.
when folklore is basically living among us, I would consider one to be an imposter if they say there is not enough novelty or enough opportunity in times of, digital technologies and artificial intelligence to preserve folklore. Therefore, in closing, I invite you to consider the implications of the findings. As digital technologies continue to evolve, the boundaries between such realities will blur. And that will challenge us to rethink not only what it means to be immersed in a game world, but how these experiences shape the understanding of our reality and how can these be leveraged as folklorists to preserve the folklore. And finally, on a lighter scale, on a less analytical note, I invite you to reconsider, do these characters in the games that I talked about also try to find their creators? And perhaps are we also part of a game that has already evolved? So thank you.
Thank you so much for introducing us for gamifying folklore. Now we have Dr. Prayasi. Volunteer, can you share her PPT?
Yes, ma'am. I think volunteers cannot do. I am doing it.
Okay.
One
Okay.
second.
Thank you. Thank you, Roshan.
Just for a second. My system is a bit slow. Can you
Ma'am,
see
it's
it?
like I can share it maybe.
One second. Let me try once. Just.
It's not working.
Roshan,
Yeah.
you can share to me if it is a problem.
You can download it and then you can.
No. Can you see it?
Yes, we can
Yes,
see
ma'am,
it,
we
but
can
it's
see.
a WhatsApp chat.
You will have to save it.
You have to save first and then you can.
No. I have saved and I have opened the PPT, but I do not know why my screen.
You can share it
Your
to me.
WhatsApp screen is showing.
I understand. 1 second. I have shared it in the volunteer group already.
Ma'am, I tried, but it's unfortunately I cannot share it.
Ma'am, let me check on it.
Let me try once again. 1 second. I think now you will be able to see. Can you see? Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you, Roshan.
The window got shuffled actually.
Thank you.
Prayasi, you can start.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Deepika. Today's my title is for the presentation is from ancestral memory to the digital archive. It's about indigenous heritage in transition. So my topic is it's based on the special references to Assam. Actually, how digitalization platforms helps to preserve and promote the folklore forms. Can you move to the next slide, please? The second one. Yeah. There is an introduction part about the understanding indigenous heritage and ancestral memory. What is indigenous heritage? So it's like, I can say it's a preservation of cultural tradition knowledge through the oral tradition and community memory. And it practices from one generation to another, and it's transmitted from one generation to another by word of mouth as folklore transmitted. And this indigenous communities have historically preserved their culture, knowledge, and identity through oral traditions, including rituals and collective memories. And also, when we say about the indigenous cultures preservation, Oral storytelling actually plays a vital role in preserving and promoting the cultural identity of a particular community. Okay, the next slide, please. Yeah, it's a description about the land when I actually born and resided, the Assam. It's a little bit, can I explain a little bit about the information? Yeah. So the
Yes,
state,
yes.
yeah, okay. So the state is situated in the northeastern part of India. We have the 7 states, including one more state, Sikkim. So Assam is situated like in the northeastern part, and its land is very much rich in tradition, culture, and nature. Okay, and also it's a hub of tea, petroleum resources, and biodiversity. As I mentioned here, that we have the 2 world UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So we are very rich in the biodiversity field. And this land also having a range of indigenous tribes with the unique identities, traditions, cultures, and their languages. And the communities, they are all well known for their indigenous knowledge practices. As we know, the indigenous knowledge practices have some broad areas, and such areas as like cultures, the forest management practices, also the communities they have some belief and practices, and also in the form of agriculture and livestock, and also the traditional healing practices. In folklore, we called it as the folk medicinal practitioners. Okay, so I will go through the indigenous knowledge tradition or the archiving tradition of cultures. So the moving to the next slides. Yes. So the Assam, the several communities have begun documenting their cultural tradition digitally. For instance, archiving traditional songs, languages, and folklore among the Boros and the Dimasa community of Assam. The one is majority community of Assam, and other one is a very rich in their culture and traditions. Okay. Then second one is the documentation of festivals among the major communities of Assam, as also has been seen in present times. And also the ethnic communities of Assam are now in the process of digitalizing their culture and tradition. Actually, this trend grows rapidly due to the internet, social media, and cultural preservation efforts. So we can see in the form of documenting, in the form of photographs, in the form of videos of traditional dances and songs and rituals, then archives of folklore and oral history, then ebooks or websites of indigenous languages and literature, helping the digitalizing the folklore. Okay, in the next slide, moving to the next slide, you can click that one hyperlink, Boro Dimasa Archive. I think it will open.
Actually, it cannot be clicked.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So it's a website. It's it's an open access website. So it's a community-based initiative to design, to preserve, revitalize, and document the languages, culture, and tradition of both the communities. Okay. If you will click if you will go to the Google and do Google the hyperlink, then you will see their websites, their stories, their origin stories. They had their traditional dress, their foods, their cultures, everything they digitalized in the website. Okay, so moving to the next slides, please. Okay, so it's the digitizing the documentation of the ancestral memories. Okay, so we all know what is ancestral memories. It's ancestral memory is the foundation of the cultural transmissions. Knowledge is passed down from elders to younger generation. Here is a video clip. I think this will open.
Will open, but sound will not come.
Okay. Please try to play the video.
A second, ma'am. I'm trying. 1 second.
Just click the next. Yeah, there. Okay, I will explain it later. But unfortunately, voice is not there, right?
I think voice is not coming.
Yeah. Voice is not there. So it's like she is a social blogger. She's an influencer. I take the courtesy of Gharsa. She's sharing in her Instagram profile the rituals. It's ancestral rituals belong to the Ahom community. Okay, who resided total 600 years in Assam. We had the royal emperor till now. We have the amphitheater, we have the villas, we have their memories. So she's explaining how this Nedam Mafi, the rituals, is performed by the Ahom community to offer their prayers to the ancestor Langdong, Lord of Heaven. Have you seen there? So this role of social media bloggers in the digitization of this indigenous tradition and in the global platform is widely accessible. So again, it helps to promote the region's age-old tradition and also preserve it for the future generation. Once, like, it's very unfortunate the video is not played. Once it plays, like, you will hear the voices, their traditional, like their folk songs. Okay, the Ahom community belong to, they're coming from the Tibet, from the China. They, in 1226 AD, Saolung Sukafa is there. They have their own songs relating to this video. Okay, so maybe we will see the video in the upcoming future in somewhere. So now moving to the next slides, please. Yeah, so it's another the digitalization of folklore forms. It's a living tradition. It's a live tradition, documenting the live tradition of the Maskasari community. Actually, this once you play the video, but I think the sound will not come. This is the song when they like, it's associated with the fishing. Okay, this community is very much rich in their tradition and culture and their folk songs, oral narratives, histories, and everything. So when they, like, this female goes to for the fishing, no, the traditional fishing, they sing a song like with some traditional instruments. See, they have singing, they have playing the flutes, they have playing the drums. So like this, and this this living tradition is documented by the Doordarshan Kendra Guwahati. Okay, it's a major public service broadcaster who organized this a Samaro like Janakristi. Name is Janakristi Samaro. It's an important cultural initiative to aim at the documentation and the promotion of this diverse folk tradition. Okay, moving to the next slide, please. So here is some challenges when like we are digitalizing the folklore. So the ownership is always there. Ownership must be with the, it's clearly defined to the communities, and also the sensitivity. Cultural sensitivity is the vital when digitalizing traditions. Sometimes we have a fear to lose the aura, right? So the moving to the next slides. Yeah, so the future prospects, this is the future prospect for the preservation. Always community participation is important. To these slides, I will conclude that the indigenous heritage is this gradually transmitting from ancestral memory to the digital archives nowadays. So while technology cannot replace the living traditions, like living traditions is always there, the technology cannot replace, it can record it for the future generation. And it can play the important role in supporting cultural continuity and the preservation. And also the educational integration. Therefore, the collaborating like between the communities, scholars, and institution, like in educational curriculum, it promotes awareness and appreciations for the indigenous heritage among the students and fostering the sense of cultural identity. Yeah. With this, I will conclude my presentation, and I'm like,
Thank you, Dr. Prayasi.
question and thoughts. Thank you, Deepika. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think now we are running out of time. We have a Dr. Margaret session.
Professor Margaret is already there.
So I think now we could not able to take the question and answer. I will write to four of you what are the doubts we have. We will write to you, and I'm really sorry that we will not take any questions right now. We will start the session for Dr. Margaret.
You can make a
Ma'am, if
comment.
we wanted to ask any question, whom can we send them to?
You can send it to me. I will ask. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
Let me
Gabriele
stop the
and
recording.
Abhirup, Dr. Kuber and Dr. Prayasi. Thank you all. Welcome, Margaret.
Hi.
Hi.